ready to go.
Good to see you.
Changing the barometric pressure. That's right. All rise.
Thank you. Welcome to the meeting. April docket. We're going to start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll join me. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now I want to recognize Commissioner Stamps for our prayer.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have Mr. and Mrs. Joy Mira. Joy Mira is a native of Evangeline Parish in Louisiana. Evangeline Parish in Louisiana is known for producing some of the country's best linemen to this day. Mr. Mira has more than 40 years of service as a line worker throughout the Southeast region, from underground to overhead distribution and transmission. At a younger age, he witnessed losing his best friend from a poor communication in an incident relating to line work. He left the line worker's life because he couldn't handle the burden of thinking he could lose more. It wasn't long, though. He came back strong and now strives more than ever for safety and communication to ensure everyone goes home safe to their families. He's currently a coordinator for the line worker equipment and rentals, living his dream life on the line. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Mira, for joining us today, and we're honored to have you. Please join us for the prayer.
Thank you for the honor. This is something you wait a lifetime for. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today. It was 20 years ago I lost my best friend. So I always remember we have to look out for each other. First thing, I appreciate y'all doing the pledge. That means a lot to us as Americans. We need to stay strong as American citizens. Oh, Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning to ask you to put your arms around us. Bless us for what you have gave us today. As a beautiful country we are, we need to stand strong and keep you in our hearts, keep you looking up for you so that we can move forward in our lives and stay built as a country that needs you so bad right now. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Thank you. Could you bring your wife up and talk about your ministry that you participated with the line?
My ministry started in Hurricane Laura. Really, I was a coordinator. We had 325 men under me. I took care of everything from food, motel, whatever it took to keep us alive in the field. And my supervisor from here from Mississippi, every time we have our meetings, we'd have a prayer. And he asked me, he said, "Joe, you come give us a prayer." Well, it shocked me because I was not ready for a prayer. I mean, there's 300 men standing in front of me, and I was like, what do I do? But God gave me the words, and that's how it started. He put his hand on me, and y'all, out of 300 men, I bet it was 150, come behind me and shook my hand, saying, we need this. So that's how I started. And now it's so great. Our ministry between me and her is we've helped so many people that touch. You never know, sometimes it's just a word that you say to somebody that could change their life. I've seen it happen. It changed my life. I waited till I'm 60 to realize what he was knocking on my forehead for. But if we don't realize people everywhere that need us as human beings, don't leave somebody in a sad spot. We did. We lost a good friend. She passed away. But neither one of us knew that she was begging for help. So don't leave somebody wandering off saying, oh, well, we don't want to get involved in their family business or whatever. Don't. You need to, because you could save a life. And a life on this earth means a lot. So that's part of how we got going to where we're at today. You know, it's been a great journey. Meet so many wonderful people. This is a big honor for me in my 40 years. I wanted this. But thank you all for giving me the chance to come here today.
Thank you for what you did.
Ma'am, could you share a few words as well? Because as a wife of a lineman, when a storm is brewing and you at home listen to the thunder and the rain, you know your husband is out there somewhere. Could you share?
Night before last.
Yes, sir. He is gone most of the time, as we know, being a lineman. That's actually how we met. They put a pole in my front yard, and I was not happy with him at all. They tore my yard to pieces, but he promised me he would fix it, and he did. And 11 years later, we're still strong. But until you are married to a lineman, you have no clue what they go through. You know, I know we all want power on right away, but you know, they're out in the storm working in this. You know, they're leaving family, they're leaving kids, you know, grandkids or whatever. So, but being married to a lineman takes a lot. It does. But I wouldn't have it any other way.
And with it being Lineman Appreciation Month, we were supposed to have more linemen here today, but they're working.
We just seen a few line texts a few minutes ago.
But I was on my way to work. They're my neighbor, and he has an F-350 that's parked outside that says American Lineman on the front of it. So I appreciate you for being an awesome lineman and a great family, more importantly, for standing up and letting the God in you shine throughout the world.
And we need that. That's our most important thing right now in this world. We need God. If we don't, telling y'all, we struggle. All of us do.
We appreciate what you do. And it didn't. You said it 11 years. It didn't take him 11 years to fix the yard, right?
We've been married 10. We dated for a year. He wanted to marry right away, and I said, no, we're going to wait a year at least. Make sure it's going to work. So August will be 10 years we've been married. So
Thank y'all so much for sharing this.
Thank you for having me.
Call the meeting to order. We'll go to the consent docket agenda. We'll start with consent docket item 1. Adoption of the proposed consent docket of the March 2024 meeting of the commission. Do you have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to the energy, electric, natural gas agenda. We'll recognize Mr. Lee. You're recognized to present item number 1, docket number 2006 UN 511.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is the single item on the energy agenda today. This is Mississippi Power Company's notice of intent to amend its property damage reserve and to change rates by establishing System Restoration Rider Rate Schedule, SRR. On February 1st of this year, Mississippi Power filed a notice of its annual filing to update this SRR, which funds Mississippi Power's property damage reserve. This is used to restore property damage after natural disasters such as hurricanes and other weather events. And SRR helps to protect ratepayers and the company from rate and financial volatility that results from storm damage property losses. When storm events occur, the company is able to charge the costs and expenses against the storm reserve, lowering that reserve but holding off the impact on customer rates. MPC proposes no change to the current SRR rate. The charge will remain at 96 cents on residential customer bills. With no change in the rate, the storm reserve accrual plus earnings on that account would reach $57.3 million by the year's end, less, of course, any use of funds during the year for storm restoration. The staff has presented the Commission with a summary of the filing and our review, and staff finds that the continuation of the current SRR rate with no increase or decrease is reasonable and prudent. And so staff recommends approval of Mississippi Power's 2024 SRR filing.
You have heard the gentleman's explanation. Do you have any questions? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Lee, for your work there. We'll move on to telecommunications agenda. We'll recognize Mr. Jones to present item 1, docket number 2024 UA 22.
Chairman, Commissioners, 24 UA 22 involves the transfer control application of Campus Communications Group to MIP 6 Trainer, a holding company. CCG at this current time provides internet, fiber optic networks for the provision of internet and other telecommunications to primarily residents of multi-unit residential houses in Lafayette and Oktibbeha County. They are owned right now wholly by Pavlov Media. This transfer in Pavlov Media is owned by MIP6 partially. If this is approved, then Pavlov Media would be owned more than 51% by MIP Trainer, therefore creating an indirect transfer control of CCG to MIP6. We've reviewed the filings in the case, and we would recommend approval of this transfer control.
Okay. You have heard the gentleman's explanation. Any questions?
So there will be no changes in the service to the citizens?
The terms and service contracts between the customers and CCG remain unchanged.
Okay.
Rates included? As far as you know, rates included?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Jones, that's all you had too? Okay. Thank you for your work. Appreciate your presentation. We'll move on to water sewer agenda. Mr. Rhodes, you're recognized to present item 1, docket number 2023 UA 144.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Fisher Ferry Water District is seeking a supplemental certificate for water service for an area located off Burnt House Road in Warren County. Fisher Ferry has been serving the proposed area for close to 24 years through a service exception letter issued by this commission back in October of 2000. There are roughly 6 homes that are being served by Fisher Ferry in this area. It is staff's recommendation that Fisher Ferry be granted the supplemental certificate as it is financially fit and able to operate and maintain this water system. Further, the current and future public convenience and necessity justifies the issuance of the requested supplemental certificate for Fisher Ferry.
Okay. Any questions?
So it's only going to serve 6 new customers?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the
6
question.
new homes is what it serves. You testified that it's only 6 homes that are included in
Yes,
the expansion.
yes.
Is there any expansion for growth in that area?
None that we're aware at this time.
These homeowners wanted this service, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Rhodes, you're recognized to present item number 2, docket number 2024 UN 008.
Thank you. On January 16th, 2024, Great River Utility Company filed notice of intent of annual review of its pass-through sewer rates for the Business Park System in Lamar County, Mississippi. Business Park System was acquired by Great River on August 24th, 2021, and at the point Great River adopted the same business arrangement that was in place between Business Park System and the city of Hattiesburg for wastewater service treatment. Prior to this acquisition, Business Park System did not have a commission-approved pass-through rate. In this filing, Great River is seeking to establish a pass-through rate to recover costs associated with wastewater processing. The staff has evaluated discovery requests, the data used to establish a $1.17 pass-through rate, And from this information, the staff believes the rate is fair and reasonable based upon data submitted in the filing. Great River is not seeking recovery of under-recovered amounts for the period that this rate was not in place.
Okay. Y'all heard the gentleman's explanation. Any questions?
Yes.
Okay, you recognize me.
How many customers are there in this park?
This is 148 customers.
And they range from what? To a car dealership or
Yes.
beauty salon?
Yeah, they're probably the biggest would be the car dealership, I would think.
Yeah, Commissioner, there's a new Toyota dealership there. Everything else is commercial customers. There are no residential customers in this area.
Who's furnishing them water?
I'm sorry, I did not hearing the question. The city of Hattiesburg.
City of Hattiesburg?
Yes.
Okay,
Any other questions?
that's it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Carr. Not hearing any more questions. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes. Welcome to the group.
Thank
Good
you.
job in your presentation. Next, we'll move on to the administrative agenda. Item number 1 is discussion to possible action regarding approval of commission minutes for, approve the minutes. Any questions? Do you have a motion?
So move.
Any second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 2, Mr. Hammond, you're recognized to present docket number 2024 UA16.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a petition filed by Greer Solar LLC for an amended CPCN authorizing the construction and operation of a solar electric generating facility in Washington County. The order before you simply refers this to Commissioner Stamps for hearing. No substantive action as relates to approving or not approving this petition. This is just referring it pursuant to 77-340 because it requires a hearing pursuant to 77-314. And I can answer any questions y'all have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Hammond, you're also recognized to present item number 2, docket number 2024 UA16.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is a petition by Fiddle Falls Solar LLC for a CPCN authorizing the construction, ownership, and operation of a solar electric generating facility in Pontotoc County. Similar to the previous order, this simply refers this to Chairman Brown for hearing pursuant to 77-340.
Got you.
I can answer any questions y'all have.
Sorry to back up. On the item number 1, how much generation is that?
The previous one?
Yes, sir.
So this supplemental or amended petition is for 30 megawatts. Greer Solar LLC received an order from the commission approving Greer Solar LLC, that same facility, for 170 megawatts in the back half of 2023. This is for an additional 30 megawatts at that site.
Okay. So a total of 200. And then item number 2, it was 200 there, wasn't it?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's Fiddle Falls is a 200 megawatt facility as well.
What a great name, Fiddle Falls.
Right?
Okay. Any questions, gentlemen? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So move.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 3. Mr. Hammonds, you're recognized to present docket number 2024 UA 018.
I think that's one I just did, Commissioner.
Oh, sorry.
Chairman, we're on number
Okay, we're on number 4. We'll move on to item number 4, docket number 2021 8052. Mr. Hammonds, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The order before you authorizes the Commission's executive secretary and legal staff to engage a third-party consultant to prepare an independent study evaluating the benefits of Entergy Mississippi LLC's continued membership in the Mid-Continent Independent Transmission Operator. On December 2nd, 2011, EML and MISO and RTO filed a joint application requesting a finding by the Commission that the transfer of functional control of EML's transmission facilities to MISO was in the public interest. On November 15th, the Commission found that that transfer was consistent with the public interest, subject to certain conditions, included but not limiting to filing with the Commission or for the Commission's consideration an annual status report, including a summary of key data regarding EML's benefits, cost, and operation under MISO membership. In the ensuing 11 years, EML's annual reports to the Commission have shown that the company's customers have received some benefits from EML's participation in MISO. The order before you states it is less clear to this and other commissions whether the long-term benefits of MISO membership exceed the long-term cost and commitments of MISO membership, especially given that MISO's structure, services, expanding role, and membership continue to change significantly in a way inconsistent with this and other Southern State Commission's recommendation. Therefore, the order before you is authorizing a study to be conducted by an independent expert to evaluate the pros and cons of continued participation by EML in MISO as a transmission owner, generation owner, and load-serving entity. I can answer any questions you have, but this is order authorizing an independent expert to put a study together to get up under the hood, as they would say.
Thank you for your explanation. Any questions?
Yes.
Chairman?
Do you know about a time frame on the study?
I think the Commission will take this and immediately work with outside counsel to get the ball rolling. Not short, but I know that doesn't answer your question.
You can start tomorrow.
It's not even 5 yet. We may be able to get started this afternoon.
Ambitious, Ross, ambitious. Any other questions? No. Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item number 5. Mr. Hammonds, you're recognized to present item number 5.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an order establishing a docket for the purpose of investigating, conducting hearings, and ordering and taking necessary measures regarding the provision of reasonably adequate electric utility service by the Holly Springs Utility Department. As the Commission's aware, the City of Holly Springs and HSUD has a CPCN in Northeast Mississippi to provide electric service. The city operates a municipal electric utility serving approximately 12,000 connections within 1,600 square miles in parts of 3 counties in North Mississippi. In recent years, the Commission has received countless communications from the city's electric utility customers voicing serious concern and frustration with the quality of their electric service. As the Commission is aware, we had a work session earlier this year where the Tennessee Valley Authority and the Tennessee Valley Public Power Association presented. On April 8th, 2024, Governor Tate Reeves signed Senate Bill 2453 into law. Senate Bill 2453 expanded the Commission's jurisdiction, authorizing it to investigate whether any municipality that holds a certificate to provide service greater than 1 mile outside its municipal boundaries providing reasonably adequate service, and bestowed upon the Commission the authority to initiate receivership proceedings for any municipality owned and operating an electric utility greater than 1 mile outside its boundaries, supported by an appropriate finding, of course. So this order before you initiates that proceeding and authorizes the Commission's executive secretary and legal staff to retain an expert to assist the Commission in this docket. And if Chairman Brown, if you want to expound on that, but I can answer any questions y'all have.
Sure. Thank you for your presentation. As you know, we did have some hearings over the summer to try to, it started really for the legislature at the end of last session. There was an ice storm which brought to the attention a lot of people in the legislature about what was going on in that utility district. So with the support of then Speaker Gunn and now Speaker White, we had a series of hearings or open meetings through the House committees in Holly Springs to try to discern, number one, what was going on, why it was happening, and how do we help fix the problem. Because we all know that was an issue. So fast forward, long story short, is the legislature appropriated some money to allow TVPPA to go in and evaluate that system to find out what's going on and the deficiencies of that system. And the gentleman that performed those tasks is Tom Suggs. and just backstory, TVPPA is the kind of co-op group that represents all of the co-ops in the Tennessee Valley. So HSUD is a member of TVPPA as well. So what Mr. Suggs found when he came in was that there was a substantial issues with the system, not only in growth and vegetation, but also in structural failures in the system itself that really can cause catastrophic issues. And they have 153 different districts in that TVPPA or the TVA Valley, and this is the only one that has these kind of deficiencies. So with those findings, the legislature enacted Senate Bill 2453 to allow us as a commission to go in and try to help give relief to those ratepayers in the Holly Springs Utility District. So that's what we're doing here today, is trying to open up and do what the Senate bill and the legislature has instructed us to do. We do intend to do everything we can to make sure that that crisis and the people in that district are heard, because it is a crisis. Anybody that watched the open meetings that we had here, we had pictures and visuals, and it's a real issue. And I will say, again, like Mr. Suggs said, and it's to the linemen and the people working there, no reflection on the employees at all. They testified to us they had 13,000 connections and only 4 linemen, and one of those gentlemen was in his 80s. So they're doing all they can, doing yeoman's work, and it's what they found out is a very dangerous circumstances as well. One of the local co-ops actually testified to us that they can't send linemen there because they cannot be guaranteed of the safety of the system. So it makes it very, very difficult for days like today. You know, our linemen are amazing, absolutely amazing. They all come help anybody that's in need. We'll see trucks. You know, just coming down here, I saw trucks from Texas and other states that come in and help Mississippians. We do the same thing. Mississippi trucks go to help Louisiana and Texas and Arkansas and Alabama. We all join together as a team. The problem with that they're having to try to help HSUD is that it's not safe. So how can you send your lineman into an unsafe condition? So again, this is an effort for us to try to identify the problem and ultimately help solve the crisis that is HSUD. Any other comments?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While the Senate bill was one step towards solving this issue, without appropriations, it's not going to work. The legislature must appropriate resources to go along with the bill that was passed, because they got $10 million of deferred maintenance and vegetation removal to be done and no money to do it. So no matter if you change the governance piece, and the governance piece is an issue of how it's actually governed, and having appropriate staff and appropriate oversight, supervision, and training is evident. But without an infusion of resources, the system will still not be stabilized. So I don't want the citizens of Holly Springs to be mistaken that this will solve the problem. This will take them a step towards solving the problem. But unless the legislature appropriates some resources, whether it be through TVA or another entity that can help stabilize the system, it's only going. This step here is only part of the solution. Move forward.
I agree, Commissioner. It is going to be this is the first step in that path. We did start it over the summer. We did kind of pull back the curtain, so to speak, and what we saw was not good. And so we'll work diligently on this effort as a group to make sure that we come up with solutions for them. Any comments, Commissioner Carr?
Time is of essence. We need to get started.
You gonna start that today too, Ross?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Well, is anybody here from the Holly Springs Utility District? You want to say a few words? You can come up front to the. This is Mark Bullock. He lives in the district. He's done yeoman's work to try to help identify outages and make sure that people are getting the service and help that they need.
So I don't actually work for the utility department. Back in the ice storm of last year, there was a major deficiency with communication. So I stepped in, and now that's morphed into where I collect outage data to show how bad the situation is. The situation overall is where you have 94% of the entire service area outside of the city limits. So you get a very small amount of the customer base that have the final say on how the whole utility is run.
And just background, it's a Holly Springs utility district, so it's run by the city, so the people outside of that service area have no input on the governance of the utility district.
So, I mean, you've got Marshall County, Benton County, it even stretches into 10 miles of Tennessee, south into Lafayette County by 5 miles, and it's just a whole mess. I'd like to correct Commissioner Brown. There are now 6 linemen. Mr. Humphreys is a superintendent, but he still does do line work. And those guys really do their utmost to try and keep the lights on. I spent last night in Jackson. I spent probably 4 hours on the phone with customers trying to get their lights back on. One lady had been off since, I think, Monday. It's just, I mean, there is just no communication. There is no leadership. There is nothing. And we are literally being left in the dark. And this bill that has been passed by the legislator, you honestly do not know how much it means to us all. It really does help us. For 30 years, people thought they weren't being listened to, but now this bill has given people a ray of hope. Just like my outage maps gave them back in February. Now you guys are listening, they see that, and we just want change. You know, I mean, there is no one here today from the city. The people that benefit the most from this grid can't even be bothered to walk into this room and face you guys. Yet the guy that doesn't get paid by the utility department has spent a year of my life, about 5,000 hours of my life in the last 12 months has been spent on outages. I don't get paid for that. I'm fortunate to be in a position where I have a private income, but I don't need to worry about a job. But now it's coming to a point where we need change. Because even Christmas Day, I was working outages. That's how bad it is. The linemen were with me. One former lineman will even tell you that I've genuinely helped him more with outages than 3 prior GMs that he's worked under. That's how bad the situation is. So I'd just like to thank you all for, you know, from the customer base, and shame the city couldn't be here.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for being here and for what you do for the community. Thank you. Any more questions, Commissioner?
I did want to make one more comment, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman. And this is to mayors and aldermen, boards of aldermen who are watching. We have to govern better. Lack of effective governance costs too much money. And state law says that if a mayor does not appoint a department head to any department after 90 days, the Board of Aldermen or the City Council can appoint someone in that position so that those workers, those supervisors and those workers have some stability in those departments. And for Holly Springs Utility District to not have a department head in charge of the electrical utility
For over a year.
For over a year, yeah. That's a failure of governance. And, you know, so we have to impress upon everybody that it's not just a mayor. There are systems in place for dysfunction to make sure we govern better.
And that's a great point, Commissioner Stamps. And what we also find out is that when you have that kind of breakdown, you have a crisis and suffering. Because we had one gentleman testify it was out of power for 96 hours, I think he said. 96 hours. Those are things that we don't think about as most Mississippians in our utility districts. To be without power for 96 hours and to not be able to go on vacation or leave your home in fear that you'll lose power and then everything in your refrigerator or freezer is gone. To not be regulated to where you have surges and spikes that ruin your equipment on the other side because you're not used to having surge protectors on everything. It's turned into a crisis. Well, Commissioner Stamps nailed it for lack of leadership.
I had one lady call my office and she said that she loses power on average 10 days a month. Imagine losing power 10 days a month. So I don't want to belabor the point, but thank you for your attention to this matter.
Thank you, Commissioner Stamps. We look forward to getting to work on this as quick as we can, and again, to do what we can to give relief to our neighbors there in Holly Springs Utility District. Any more questions? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll move on to item number 6. Discussion and possible action regarding proposed orders of docket numbers 2016 UN 33, 2023 UN 16, 2023 UN 17, 2023 UN 18. Mr. Hammond, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On January 12th, 2021, the Commission established docket number 2021 AD 19 for the purpose of reviewing the efficacy and fairness of the Mississippi Renewable Energy Net Metering Rule and the Mississippi Distributed Generator Interconnection Rule. At the conclusion of the Commission's rulemaking, Entergy Mississippi and Mississippi Power Company were ordered to make tariff filings establishing 3 Commission-ordered programs, specifically the Public K-12 Solar for Schools, Low to Moderate Income Energy Independence Incentive, and the Residential Demand Response Battery Incentive. Both companies complied with the Commission's order and made the appropriate filings. EML and MPC's rate notice filing were later approved by the Commission. When the orders were entered in 2022, the Commission found that these programs represented a significant economic incentive to bolster and entice distributed energy adoption in the state. Following the Commission's final order in that docket, the United States Energy Environmental Protection Agency released the $7 billion Solar for All Notice of Funding Opportunity, which will award up to 60 grants to states, territories, tribal governments, municipalities, and nonprofits to expand the number of low-income and disadvantaged communities primed for residential solar investment, enabling millions of low-income households to access affordable, resilient, and clean solar energy. The Commission is aware that the state of Mississippi, through the Mississippi Development Authority, submitted an application requesting funding to increase residential rooftop solar deployment in the state. The order before you finds that due to the availability of federal funds available to increase residential rooftop solar deployment in Mississippi, as well as other funds available through other agencies, the Commission finds that EML and MPC's low to moderate income energy independence incentive and residential demand response battery incentive tariffs should be stayed pending further evaluation by the Commission. The Commission finds that staying the tariff provisions associated with the above-mentioned programs is in the public interest. I also allow Commission to monitor adoption of distributed energy resource in the state without ratepayer-funded incentives. It is therefore ordered that EML's Solar for Schools rate schedule, SFS1, Section 4 of EML's Net Energy Metering Rate Schedule, NEM2, MPC's Solar for Schools Rate Schedule, SFS, and MPC's Low to Moderate Income Incentive Program and Battery Storage Incentive Program, RENM1, are hereby stayed pending further evaluation by the Commission. And I can answer any questions y'all have.
Thank you, Mr. Hammonds. Any questions?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I know this program was near and dear to former Commissioner Brent Bailey's heart. If I see him in the audience, if you'd like to say a few words, I'd like to ask permission to allow him to say a few words.
Sure. Mr. Bailey? You're on the hot seat. Good to have you with us.
Hey, man, good to see y'all. Commissioner, certainly not the reason I'm here today. I had no idea this was going to come up for a conversation. I'm strictly here to kind of get back and evaluate what's going on for professional purposes, as well as exactly what Commissioner Stamp said. There are issues going on that we've certainly worked on. Put a lot of time and effort in over the last couple of years, and certainly want to implore the time, the participation. 2021 AD dash, what was that, Ross?
19.
19, and the number, the extensive number of stakeholders and participants that intervened and joined in that and provided input over more than 2-year period in the development or the revisions of the net metering rule and the creation of these programs, resiliency, solar for schools, LMI, et cetera, to help push forward what we're seeing across the nation is a changing environment as far as the production and consumption of electricity. And we can either stand by and watch it go by, or we can participate this and bring economic development to the state and let folks have additional choices of how they want to consume as well as generate energy. And we've seen the positive economic impacts this continues to have. Just what we saw with large-scale utility today, referring 2 new solar projects to y'all. I think during our time last 4 years, we approved close to $2.5 billion of clean energy projects across the state that touch rural communities from the coast to North Mississippi, from Alabama to Louisiana, Arkansas line. And we see these rural communities today taking advantage of that. I would certainly hate to see this type of program be put on the shelf simply because we're waiting to see what others are doing. He mentioned the Solar for All program. Yes, the state has applied for that. It is a competitive application. We have not received word whether the state will benefit from that. And it could be a substantial part, money coming in, but it, like everything else, it has guardrails, it has conditions, it has other parts of that that does not make it universally applicable to all customers. However, you know, we certainly hope that the Solar for School, while we haven't seen any participants as of yet, during the hearing process, we had multiple superintendents, school board representatives, principals, et cetera, who testified in support of that program or anxious to see it going. These things take time. Just like a utility scale program, from the time this idea goes into place, it's normally around 4 to 5 years. It's even going to take time for things like a 3 megawatt and below project to get going. But there are people out there working on that today. If there is a motion for stay, I would certainly hope there'd be additional consideration. But allow yourselves to hear from those stakeholders around the state that offered testimony in the past, today's school administrators and others, and let them know about their plans to participate in this if they're still moving forward. We know it's going to be a challenge across everybody, but this is going to be an opportunity to bring revenues into the school districts to help reinvest in academia, infrastructure, and other areas to make students aware of what's going on out there in the world. So something I just would like for you to consider. I'd be more than happy to provide additional perspective from our standpoint. No, it was not a universal vote when it was adopted. I totally understand that. But at least my ask is to at least give this program a chance, see where it goes, hear from stakeholders that have participated and others that could potentially participate going forward that very well could be within your district. So I appreciate it. If you have questions, I'll certainly field that.
Appreciate your comments.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And again, this doesn't preclude anybody from participating in solar. Basically, the way this was set up was basically that the ratepayers would subsidize a program to allow certain people to participate. So it's the subsidy that I think that we take issue with. It's not the solar. It's not helping schools. They'll still be able to move forward. So we support those items and those issues. We just don't think it's a good policy to spread that to the ratepayers, to the rest of the ratepayers when they don't benefit directly. So again, that's what this order is doing. Basically, is to say that we don't have a problem with anybody doing rooftop solar. We don't have any problem with people participating. Just don't charge your neighbor for it. And I think that's ultimately what this does. Correct.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, at one point, so the Commission's Rule 29, which is the net metering rule or the distributed generation rule, is still in place. Residential customers, schools certainly can still participate in that.
Okay. Any questions? Do I have a motion?
Motion, so moved.
Second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Hammonds. Thank you, Commissioners. We'll move on to, we're on item number 7. Discussion and possible action regarding execution of adoption to extend contracts and services with current fuel auditors. Ms. Dixon, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse me. March of this year marked the end of a 2-year contract with the current slate of fuel auditors. You may recall that Horn and London Economics performed the 2022 and 2023 financial and procurement audits for Entergy, and Forvis and Bates White performed those respective audits for Mississippi Power Company. The Commission's original contracts for those fuel audit services gave the Commission the option in its discretion to renew the performance period of the contracts for up to an additional 2 years, which would go into the fiscal year 2024 and 2025 periods. At this point, therefore, it is time for the Commission to determine whether or not it wants to exercise that option. Commission staff and the public utility staff have reviewed the auditor's recommendations from this latest audit period. The procurement auditors for both Mississippi Power Company and Entergy recommended that many items be punted or reviewed over the course of this next audit period. Because those recommendations are based on and stem from the knowledge that those auditors have already gained over the past 2 years, we believe that efficiency would be served by exercising the option to extend the fuel audit contracts by 1 additional year for fiscal year 2024. This would allow the commission to lock in the fees that were previously proposed by the auditors in their RFP responses from 2 years ago. In addition, both commission staff and the public utility staff have been satisfied with the form and the substance of the work produced by all 4 of the auditing firms, and feel confident that such good work would continue for an additional audit period. We therefore recommend that the commission authorize the executive secretary to execute a 1-year contract extension for the performance of the fuel audit services with Horn, London Economics, Forvis, and Bates White.
Thank you for that explanation. Very thorough and very good explanation. Any questions, gentlemen? Hearing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Good job. Well, lastly, before we adjourn, there are 2 commission resolutions that we'd like to discuss. With that, I'll take the first one. Mississippi Public Service Commission proclamation recognizing April as Safe Digging Month. Introductions to Mississippi 811 guest here. So Fred Johnson, when I call your name, stand up if you can. Oh, there you go. Mike Morgan, Jamie McKenzie. Thank y'all for being with us and for what you do to serve our communities and our state. Any comments, gentlemen?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for what you do, because we kind of walked into a firestorm in the beginning of this term with the results of not safe digging. Yeah. And we appreciate bringing awareness to it, but more importantly, the work you do is vitally important. So thank you very much for your dedication and your passion to keep our community safe.
Yeah, I want to thank y'all. Your call centers are great. I've used them many times. Even sometimes, even after the accident, I've used them.
Don't say that, Commissioner.
Which is not so friendly, trust me. But y'all do a great job. I appreciate it.
Gentlemen, thank you for being with us, and again, the service that you provide for our state. It is amazing. 811 before you dig, right? Yeah. Thank y'all so much. Would also like to recognize those that couldn't be with us. Mr. Sam Johnson passed away on 2023. Sam was the founding father of the underground utility damage prevention industry. Sam was the first employee of Mississippi 811 and served as the organization's president for over 39 years. Prior to helping start Mississippi 811, Sam worked with MPSC Pipeline Safety Division. Also joining us today is our team with Pipeline Safety Division, Ricky Cotton and Caleb Gibson. Okay. Thank you so much for what you do as well. Y'all do a great job for the state of Mississippi in protecting us. And as we go through this, y'all definitely remember Mr. Johnson and his family. Thank you for what you do. And remember 811 before you dig. Thank you, gentlemen. So you have the resolution before you. Any other questions? Not hearing any. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on, we'll go to the second item. Commissioner Stamps, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The second proclamation is a proclamation of the Mississippi Public Service Commission to proclaim April 18th as Lineman Appreciation Day. Whereas the Mississippi Public Service Commission recognizes the invaluable contribution of linemen in our state, and whereas the dedication and hard work of linemen ensure the reliability, deliverability of electricity and other essential services to our communities, and whereas linemen face challenging and dangerous conditions while working to maintain, repair, and expand our electrical infrastructure, whereas their commitment to public safety and service is commendable and deserving of our gratitude. And whereas Lineman Appreciation Day provides an opportunity for us to express our appreciation and support for the vital role linemen play in our everyday lives. Now, therefore, we, the Commissioners of the Mississippi Public Service Commission, do hereby proclaim April 18th, 2024 as Lineman Appreciation Day in the state of Mississippi and urge all Mississippians to join us in recognizing and honoring the contributions of linemen and to express our heartfelt appreciation for their unwavering dedication and service done at the Mississippi Public Service Commission on this 11th day of April 2024. And you see some great pictures. I want to recognize Ms. Rachel Ring. She is amazing in the work she does. She partnered with all of our utilities to gather these pictures of seeing these young men and women at work in the field, and even now, they're sitting on the side of the road waiting for the wind to go below 30 miles an hour so they can get on those buckets and restore power. And so this just is a small display to the audience that's here and those who are watching at home of the hard work and dedication of our linemen. So continue to keep them in your prayers and support them as much as you can.
It is amazing. It's something that we do take for granted. You know, people celebrate, you know, when you talk of linemen, a lot of people think of football, right? Our power linemen are much more important to us than linemen in football, except maybe to the quarterback. But it's extremely important, the job that y'all do to provide that light switch. When you hit that light switch and the lights come on, something we take for granted. And it's because of a lineman and the hard work of our power grid and those that supply that power that makes it to where we live in comfort. It's the difference between us being in the light and being in the dark, literally. So our job and our commitment as us as a commission is to make sure that we defend that. That we want to make sure that power is reliable and it's as affordable as absolutely possible. And the linemen are a huge part of that. And I personally thank each one of you. We've had huge tornadoes go through my area, 5 miles from my home. Sat outside and I saw the cloud, and the destruction afterwards that went through Monroe County was absolutely amazing. But to see all those linemen instantly go to work, and as Commissioner Stamp said, even when the wind's at 29 miles an hour, right? Got to get below 30. But they're out there doing the work to make sure that they provide the service to all of us. It's a very amazing group of individuals, and one that we are honored to honor today with this resolution.
Yes. I know a few linemen in my life, and they're some of the toughest men I've ever known. They bear the weather, all elements. When it gets right down to it, y'all heard the gentleman, he was breaking up inside. There's a brotherhood that goes way further than what we, us folks on the outside that appreciate that. They care for each other. They look out for each other, not only themselves but their family. Those people that are behind the scene also, those men and women that are the women that are on dispatch, they're directing them in the way to go. The women should get some credit here, and they all stick together. Trust me, I've seen it, providing everything that you can imagine and making sure the reinforcements are on their way, like they are last night and today and throughout tomorrow. We have apps on our phones, each commissioner and the staffs, that watch those numbers go up of people without power, but we watch them come down just that fast too. They're dedicated people. It's not about the money. It's about their dedication to their community and to their neighbors. It's very important to me that they get acknowledged, as we see. I've seen it happen so many times after a storm on the coast that people are standing out on the street wanting to give them water, cold drink, making sure they're taken care of. They appreciate y'all. And it's just one way that we can give back to y'all. No matter how small it is, I want y'all to know from my heart and my family, I thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, sir.
I also wanted to, after the meeting today, we're gonna go outside and I want y'all to take a look at the most amazing display of a proud lineman that you will ever see. There's a F-350 outside that says American Lineman, and I'm proud to say that he hails from Raymond, Mississippi.
It is interesting. I know we will belabor the point, but it is amazing when you have a storm event, and it's literally like an army of trucks running up and down the road. Most of them flying American flags, and it's all you can do to just go by and just honk the horn and give them a huge thumbs up. And it's amazing the job that our linemen do. And again, we as a commission are 100% behind you, and we honor you today and with this proclamation. And thank you so much for your service. Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of times we go down the road and we see a couple men up on the pole, whether they're on spurs or they're in a truck. And we look at the bottom, and I've had this question asked me a lot of times. There's 5 men standing on the bottom, looking up. And I said, what are they doing? I said, they're making sure they don't make a mistake. And that's very important. You know, these men are prideful, but they're also tenderhearted. And they listen when someone on the ground say, hey, and then you catch yourself. You get into a routine, and that routine will cost you. A lot of times you only get one chance with this because it's sad when that chance happens. Your brother, we have to be on top of everything, and that's why it's so important. Holly Springs issue gets taken care of quickly as possible.
Amen. And speaking of Holly Springs, again, go back to that. George Humphreys is in his 80s, and he was literally still working the lines on up into his 80s. I think Mark testified that he's kind of a management now, but he testified, and he literally, as a lineman does, even in his 80s, I'm sorry we're not able to provide the service that you deserve. We will continue to work hard to try to make sure that we provide the best service we can. Wow. I mean, that's an amazing individual for 80s and still feels a service to his neighbors and his fellow man. So that's pretty amazing. That's just one lineman. So again, any other questions, gentlemen? Comments? So do I have a motion?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, thank y'all so much for coming and for participating. And with that, we stand adjourned.